Had to open up a little Mason Betta. Welcome back, gentlemen, to a season I didn't think was going to happen. So, with all that being said, let's start off with some housekeeping things really quickly. One is I want to flag for everybody the COVID contingency plan, and how I have that currently set up is that if we play up until week 9, the way I have set up is that I will pay out everyone who's won categories. So as you guys know, there's like season high score, most points scored in a single game, person who's like lost, all those different categories. Those would get paid out first. And then from there, I would then disperse the rest of the funds to everybody equally, right? And that's if we don't get past these week 9. If we do get past week 9, the way it will work out is that I will pay everyone who gets any kind of season categories. And then from there, I will only split it up evenly among all those in playoff contention. So if you are out of playoff contention, if it were to happen post week 9, you would not get paid out that portion evenly, right? And again, this is all contingent upon if we need to put that in place. As of right now, let's just try to stay positive. But I did want to flag that. The other thing that I want to flag, and you guys are really good at it, but in other leagues that I have, they always have like a brain fart, is that I don't pay things out till the end of the season. So if you win weekly high score, if you're winning a category, do not hit me up like that Tuesday morning at like 7 in the morning talking about like, yo, when am I getting these funds? You get paid at the end of the year. I've been consistent with that. I've done it every year, and every year everyone gets paid out on time. So why change the formula? And with all that being said, week 1 was insane in this league. Before I jump off and do anything, obviously have to sit up here and recognize Jose, whose team put up a staggering 176.48 and got that weekly high score. Really aren't much people in contingency. Like, sadly enough, I think I'm in second place, and I scored 144.54. So it's almost a 30-point difference. So huge shout out to him for winning week 1 high score. That's a huge accomplishment. But with that being said, let's jump right into the matchups. I think it's probably best that we start off with Jose's matchup since he did win. Jose played against Can't Chub Me, or something. Oh, Can't Hide My Chub. I think Reese, I think you need to change your name from last year because I don't think you have Chubb this year. You do not have Chubb this year. So let's start off with Reese's team. I mean, great performance by Watson, Zeke, Tyler Lockett. The Ravens defense gave 21. The thing that kind of killed him in terms of Reese is that, Kerryon Johnson gave 1.4. He had Chris Thompson gave him 2.6. Marlon Mack got hurt, 8.6. But before he got hurt, he was the alpha over there. So really tough for Aricio. He does have Benny Snell on his bench. I mean, Connor did go out last night, so if Snell might be the guy in week 2 if Connor's unable to go. And Marlon Mack with 26 points. Ugh, that's man. That's I didn't see that one coming. But Aricio, that's why every year you are in playoff contention, sir, because that is a great pickup on your end. And obviously you have Miles Sanders, who is out on IR, so that kind of played a bit of a fact. Going over to the left side, Jose, everything kind of hit from him, honestly. The only thing that didn't hit for him was Devontae Parker at 8.7. Everyone else, except for his kicker, and Devontae Parker gave him double digits in scoring. Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, even Kenyon Drake, Chris Godwin, Ridley, Hunter, Singletary. I mean, great start. I mean, honestly, anytime you can have a situation where your kicker and another field player did not give you double digits, everyone else did, you're in really good position. And then from there on his bench, he didn't really have much. Alex Molster, who's a backup for Cooks, wouldn't have expected you to play him, so that's that makes perfect sense. On your bench, absolutely nothing else. I mean, Baker Mayfield, but again, I don't think you're playing Baker Mayfield. I don't think the Browns would have played Baker Mayfield. Let's put it that way. So moving on to our next matchup, let's go with this one here. Kerry and Kevin played against each other. How the hell did I miss that matchup? I should have talked more smack about that. Everybody here knows that I love a good Horton matchup and battle. Kerry gets the win, 128.6. Kevin with 95.8. Looking at Kevin's team, he had Connor 3.7. That's a devastating injury. I was just actually talking about Connor when doing the wrapper for Aricio because he has Snell. T.Y. Hilton gave him 9.3. Odell Beckham gave 5.2. Interestingly enough, I was just talking about Baker Mayfield. And then you had Ingram gave him 2.9. I mean, sadly enough, I mean, Kev put up 95.8. Yo, honestly, kudos to him, man, because, I mean, Josh Jacob put up a good chunk of those for him. Without Josh Jacob, I mean, he really had only 3 people in his whole starting lineup score in double digits. So besides, Goff was actually one at 10.5, Jacobs with 35.9, and then he had Allen Robinson with 12.3. So shout out for Kev on that one in terms of just, again, almost putting at 100, and his team really didn't show up. So imagine if they did show up. Going over to my favorite Houghton, looking at Carrie's team, really, I mean, Lamar Jackson set the tone in a lot of ways for her. She had the opposite of her brother. She actually had only 2 people not scoring double digits for her. One being her defense, the other one being, oh no, I'm lying. I misread that. I'm so sorry. She actually had Lamar Jackson give it 25.9, Delvin Cook gave it 21.1, Lindsay didn't do anything at all. Shepard gave her 10.7, which I'm surprised I started Shepard. I thought with Monday night with Tate being out, I expected more from Shepard. Amari Cooper gave it 18.1. Goddamn Cowboys, and they still lost. Looking at her bench, she had Burrow, but no one else on her bench at all did anything worth a lick. So shout outs to Carrie on the huge win against her brother. Moving on to our next matchup, which was Lloyd, new entry into this league, playing against Phil, who is a vet, and Lloyd got the win at 146.6 to 131.66. Looking at Phil's team, Phil had Cooper give him 8. His defense gave -5, man. Anytime your defense gives you a negative anything, that's a fucking pisser. Kicker only gave him 4. Outside of that, I mean, Phil had a really strong matchup. And if you think about it, he probably would beat half of the teams in the league. He just happened to play against somebody who put up more points than him. Looking at his bench, I mean, he did have Aaron Rodgers at 38.76, but he also had, again, Ben Roethlisberger gave him 28.06. So, wouldn't have made much of a difference in terms of the win-loss for him. And he has James Robinson on his bench at 10 points, but made all the right starts here. Just unfortunately went up against a team that just put up more points than him this week. Speaking of that other team, Lloyd, welcome to the league, sir. Huge win. You don't know it, but you beat a vet in this matchup. Looking at Lloyd's team, I mean, CEH, I did not buy the hype. Again, going to own that one. Starting off with 19.8. Chris Carson gave him 24.6. Matt Ryan gave him 27.9. Robert Woods gave him a solid 17.9. You had Emmanuel Sanders gave him 10.5. And you also had your defense and kicker both give you over 10, which is impeccable. If anyone's looking for a trade in terms of quarterback, Lloyd's probably somebody to hit up. He also has Kyler Murray on his bench, who had 28.3. He had Dobbins with 14.2, who could be the guy over there, and the Ravens, and also Juju Smith, Jonnu Smith, the tight end from the Titans, with 13.6, and he also had AP at 14.4. So yeah, if you're looking for a trade, especially for a quarterback, Lloyd might be the person to go to. Congrats, Lloyd, on the huge win. Moving on to our next matchup. Ian starting off strong, flexing on him against Kit, 149.68 to 124.8. Starting off with Kit. Looking at his team, again, another one similar to Phil. I mean, he has Tom Brady. He's another one that, I mean, if you're looking for a quarterback, I mean, he has Tom Brady and also Breeze. Maybe somebody for you all to kind of hit up. But then looking at the rest of his team, defense gave him 3, kicker gave him 9, David Montgomery gave him 8.4, Keenan Allen gave him 7.7. Outside of that, everyone gave him double digits, but however, it was low double digits. I mean, Ronald Jones gave him 10.1, Montgomery gave him a 10.2, Melvin Gordon gave him a 12.4, Saquon Barkley gave him a 12.6. If anybody was on the chat during the game, Kit was not happy with his performance, but better days are definitely ahead. I mean, he's the featured guy on that offense of the Giants, so better days kind of ahead. Tough loss for Kit. Moving on to Team Baby Got Back. Ian starting off the season really strong. Honestly, his team beat Kit. It's really 2 plays that beat Kit, 3 plays that beat Kit. Josh Allen with 32.18. You had Thielen giving 31.0, and then you had Devontae Adam giving 41.6. Everyone else in the lineup gave him single digits. Everyone. So this was really a case where 2 people carried the whole gosh darn load for him. I mean, he had Jarwin go out and get hurt at the game on 2.2. Just really bad scoring from everyone else. But you got the win. That's what matters, right? Live on to fight another day. Kareem Hunt gave him 12.1 on his bench. Fuller gave him 19.2 on his bench. Chase Edmonds gave him 13.5. His bench actually has performed his starters. So huge shout out for Ian. When such a bad performance from your starting lineup and you still get the win, that's huge and impressive, my guy. Moving on to Keith versus Cheeks. Huge win for Cheeks. For Keith. I'm gonna get this right. It's only week 1, guys. For Keith, going 143.64 against Cheeks is 101. Looking at Cheeks' team, I actually hung out with him. He does something that's quite impressive, which is like he and I were together all Sunday watching the games together in Red Zone, and he actually does not look at the score till late on that night, which that's just like fucking patience. That's like meditation or something like that he does. But anyway, look at his team. Had to really wet the bed in a lot of ways. I mean, if you look at it for him, I mean, he had Chubbs giving 5.6, Eckler giving 9.7, Cam Akers giving 5.3, Mike Evans gave him 7.2. Again, on his bench, though, he did have Darius Slayton with 28.2. He had Paris Campbell with 14. Swift with 11.3. Again, just a really bad performance for his team coming out week 1. Moving on to the other side, Keith, quite the opposite, honestly, with Keith. I mean, his defense gave -3. But besides that, everybody else came out and scored for him. Pat Mahomes with 26.4. Aaron Jones, 7.6. Raheem Mostert with 25. God damn. Marquise Brown with 15.1. CeeDee Lamb, Cowboy, 10.9. Mark Andrews with 22.8. And then when you look at his bench is fucking lit, man. Sorry. He has Jonathan Taylor with 14.9. He had Robbie Anderson with 25.5. He had Raheem Hines at 27.3. Yo, yeah, I would say, I mean, even though I know he was in contention for a weekly high score, Keith's team, the team to watch for when you look at the fact that like what his team did in terms of his starting lineup and his bench, seems to have a really good balanced team. And then going on to the last matchup, me against Ant. Final score was 144.54 to 124.6. Looking at Ant's team, not really much. I mean, he had Cam Newton, gave him 25.7. DK Metcalf actually gave him 19.5. And then you had TJ Hooksman gave him 16.8. Alan Lazard, that's an impressive start, by the way. Give him 18.2. Looking at his bench, not really much except for Daniel Jones on the bench. But he started Cam. Cam gave him more. Looking at my team, I think this shit is terrible. But anyway, Antonio Gibson gave me 6.4. I had Austin Hooper gave me 3.5. Juju Smith-Schuster saved me with 24.9 on that Monday night game. I also had Julio Jones give me 24.7. I had Alvin Kamara give me 23.7. I had Dak give me a 16.9. I did have Crowder on my bench with 24.5. I had Anthony Miller on my bench also with 17.6, but made all the right starts here. Moving on to week 2, a fucking course I played Keith. I was just bigging him up. Me and Keith play against each other. Both teams are 1-0. Cheese plays against Kit. Both teams are 0-1. Ant plays against Phil. Both teams are 0-1. And then you have Ian goes against Jose, who's the weekly high scorer. Both teams are 1-0. And then you have Lloyd goes against Kerry. Both teams are 1-0. And then you have Keith. You have Ian goes against Kevin. Both teams are 0-1. Which again, Aricio goes against Kevin. Both teams are 0-1. So interestingly enough, every team that's undefeated is actually playing against each other this week, and every team that lost last week is playing against each other. What the hell are the odds of that? But with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Let's see who's about to be big spending on this waiver wire, though. See you guys next week. Later.